Hello everyone, Chris here with Platinum Reviews. Today we have the newest review for The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. This is the direct sequel to Trails to Zero, which if you have not played, I highly suggest playing that before even watching this review. I do have a review for Trails to Zero, so go ahead and check that out if you're interested. Highly suggest playing that game, but do not play this game. You can if you want. But I would suggest not playing this game until you at least play Trails to Zero. Not only does your save file carry over with some minimal choices that you make in the previous game carrying over, but the story is a direct sequel, so you're probably going to be lost in the sauce if you play this one first. So without further ado, let's jump into the review. Trails to Azure is a direct sequel to Trails to Zero, and I mean it. It takes place literally a few weeks to a few months after the events of the first game. You're still tying up loose ends from the first game. While it's all fun and it's all dandy and whatnot, it kind of is a little bit of a gripe for me because I feel like early on in the game, it doesn't actually feel like a sequel. Instead, it feels like story DLC. The game does not do enough early on to really set it apart from being a separate game. I felt like I was hanging out with an old friend. I was riding a bike again without the training wheels. I was like, oh, don't worry, I got this. And that's how the beginning of Trails to Azure felt. The story, I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything with it. Like I said, if you haven't played Zero, don't play this. You're taking place right after the events from Zero. You're going to be confused. You're going to spoil stuff from the original game. The original game had a great story. I definitely suggest playing that first. Now, it's not just the story. I feel like the gameplay as well just doesn't really do enough to set it apart and make it feel like a separate game. Yeah, they add a few new things with a couple new characters for your party, one or two new areas to explore, I think, maybe, and the abilities of Burst and Master Quartz. Master Quartz are just quartz that you can add into your engram I think it's an engram, that allows you to get a boost when you start a battle, depending on which one you choose. So one, for example, when you start your battle, you get strength up for 2 turns, something like that. And as you play, you level that up and you can do 3 turns, 4 turns, and so on and so forth. Burst is actually probably my favorite addition to the game. It's not a thing that you can use at all times, but at critical moments in the story, you can actually go into burst mode. The more attacks that you do, you increase your burst meter, and you can unleash burst attacks. It makes it to where your arts go through immediately, which is so nice. And then also it makes it to where you can just keep attacking over and over and over. Really like burst mode, and I think that was a great addition to the game and probably the thing that sets it apart from the first game the most. Now, an issue I had with the first game was side quest, and that does carry over into this game as well. I feel like the side quests are just repetitive, boring, just it's a lot of the same thing. Like, oh, hey, go defeat this enemy. You go turn it in. Oh, hey, go defeat this enemy. Hey, go to this area and talk to this person. And they're going to have you go over here and talk to this person. None of the side quests are really exciting, and they just kind of feel pointless. And that was a big issue that I had with the first game. Honestly, though, I think that's it for my gripes. The game plays very good. I didn't run into any glitches. The music is fantastic. For this being a remaster, it looks great. I don't know. I know with Trails to Zero, there was a big issue with it looking better on Switch, and I don't know if that's the same with this one, because like I said, I'm playing on PlayStation, not Switch, and I'm not reviewing that version. But the game looks great for it being a remaster. I literally have no gripes with this gameplay past, what I already said. The game's great, and I definitely suggest it. Trails to Azure is a game I would definitely suggest. While it does have the gripes that I listed earlier, I do think it's a great game, and the story is an awesome one to experience. I would give Trails to Azure at an 8.5 out of 10. If you're looking for the platinum, you're going to be playing multiple playthroughs and a lot of hours. I don't know why I said multiple like that, but you're going to be playing quite a bit. I would definitely suggest following through with a guide and going over everything because you literally have to collect everything. The nice thing though is after you beat the game, depending on how many trophies you get during your first playthrough, it allows you to carry things over to your second playthrough, like your levels, items, stuff like that. So if you do have to play multiple playthroughs because you want to go for the platinum, that's going to help you out a lot. Now, if you like the characters from Trails to Zero and Trails to Azure, do not fret. Trails into Reverie will be coming out in July, I believe, and it features the cast from Trails to Zero/Azure, as well as other characters from other Trails 2 games. So, if you liked the cast, don't worry, you'll be able to play with them again. Now, that is it for me. This has been Chris with Platinum Reviews. If you have any questions about the game, let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Keep getting those trophies. そっちの2人からはほとんど匂わん。は、お姉さんはちょっと？いつの間にお姉さん大きいね。